when we realize how little we understand about life, ourselves, and the world around us. I, Sandeep Shah,
and I, Sudhar Kamina,
welcomes you all in our first technical session. As we all know, we just have heard about Dr. Puri Nayak. He is the chairperson of this first technical session. I welcome you, sir. Now, I'll introduce three presenters of this session. Right? It is said, strong mind discuss ideas, average mind discuss events, weak mind discuss the people. I'll welcome Dr. Tushar Shah, IWMI, Dr. Dalip Kumar. He has done PhD from Patna University, 12 books written and more than 40 research papers. He has attended one world conference in Beijing. And our third presenter, Dr. J.I. Laliwala, a former professor. I welcome you all.
now I request Dr. Mohan Patel sir to welcome Dr. Tushar Shah with short memento and book.
Sir.
Now I request Dr. J.D. Vara sir to welcome Dr. Dalip Kumar with short memento and book. I request Dr. Mukesh Mistry sir to welcome Dr. J.I. Laliwala with short memento and book.
Malcolm says, the future belongs to those who prepare for it today. So today's report here, for our first technical session, I'll request Dr. J.D. Wala sir to present a memento to Dr. Mrutyunjay. Malala Yousafzai says, we realize the importance of our voices only when we are silenced. With this quote, I hand over the session to our chairperson, Dr. Puri Nayak. Thank you.
Eminent speakers sitting before you, and we are going to go sequentially. So I request Dr. Tushar Shah to come and make his presentation. And I would request that it can be kept for about 15 minutes or so that three speeches will be there, 15 times 3, 45 minutes or so. That's roughly the kind of time management. So I welcome Dr. Shah. Thank you.
My co-speakers, invited guest students, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure for me to be here, to be speaking before you. I think the topic of this seminar, national seminar, is also very timely. The new government in our country has instituted a variety of different schemes. And the schemes are supposed to, in some sense, represent continuity with the past, and yet a change in the thinking of the new government. And discussing them at an early stage and providing feedback would create an opportunity for improving the design of many of these schemes. As you know, the most important thing about the future impact of a government scheme is the kind of thinking that has gone into it. When you design a new scheme which is going to commit large sums of money, you do it based on assessing accumulated experience of the country in doing development in that particular field. And the quality of assessment of that experience that you do besides how you design a scheme and how does the scheme pan out in the future. For this seminar that has been announced by the new government, and I want to subject that to some critical evaluation because I really think that that scheme does leave massive scope for improvement. As you know, when in the 2014 October, when the parliamentary elections were being contested, the NDA had come up with its manifesto, and in that it had made a very bold statement about agrarian reform. You know that our country, our economy is passing through a very delicate phase. The country itself, the economy itself is growing at a brisk pace. But large proportion of our population is not able to participate in the process of growth. And that is because a majority of our people are stuck in agriculture. The new incomes and growth are occurring only in the off-farm sector. So you have 60-65% of the people sharing 15% of the GDP. So being in farming is being poor. And the NDA manifesto wanted to change that. And you saw the inklings of that even in the budget that Mr. JJ presented just a few weeks ago, in which he promised BJP's or the NDA's commitment to doubling farmers' incomes in 5 years. Now, everybody who's worked in agriculture knows that this is a dream that is hard to achieve. Doubling farming income for the entire country in 5 years is just an impossible dream. But even pursuing that dream seriously would actually change lives of large numbers of our farmers. And a key component of how do you achieve that dream is the Prime Minister's Krishi Sinchai Yojana, the big irrigation initiative that the NDA government is planning, on which there is currently an allocation of more than 120,000 crores over the next 5 years. Now, those who are familiar with Indian history would know that there has always been, for millennia, for thousands of years, a very strong nexus between irrigation and politics. Whenever a new leader emerges in a society and he acquires power, the first thing that he does is announce a massive and ambitious irrigation initiative. If you look at our own history, the last 20-25 years, just look at the Chief Minister. Whenever some new leader becomes the Chief Minister, the first thing that he does is, an ambitious scheme for irrigation. When Mr. Vajpayee became the Prime Minister, he revived this national river linking scheme, which had been in the works for 150 years. And he promised the country that the government will implement the river linking scheme. When Rajshekhar Reddy became the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh in 2004, within a week he announced Jal Yajna, a scheme to invest 180,000 crores to irrigate every acre of land in Andhra Pradesh. Similarly with Maharashtra, similarly with Narendra Modi when he became the Chief Minister, the first thing that he did is he wants to link all the rivers of the country. So irrigation and politics have had a very strong nexus, not only in our country, but throughout the oriental part of the world, where life and civilization have always depended on management of water. So there was a philosopher who actually wrote a book called The Oriental Despotism. This was in 1950s and 1945 or 1950s, in which he tried to understand why is it that Europe had germs of republicanism and democracy in 12th and 13th century. But throughout Asia, starting from Japan, going west to West Asia, you only had despotic rules. You only had governments which are dictatorial or which are autocratic. And his argument was that it had to do with irrigation. In all of Europe, if you look at Europe's rainfall pattern, then it is possible to grow crops, to grow food for the population without artificial management of water, because you get steady events of rainfall for a long season of several 8 months. But if you look at any Asian country, in our Gangetic Plains, for example, which had the highest density of human population 2,000 years ago, it was primarily because Indians were very adept at managing water. So his thesis was that most of the Asian countries had during medieval times despotic or authoritarian governments, primarily because of the demands that irrigation made. If you wanted to manage a large irrigation system, there was need to enforce discipline on the use of water. If you go to Sri Lanka, then Sri Lanka is a hydraulic society. It's a society which has survived and thrived by managing water. And there the rule was that in a canal irrigation system, if anybody diverts water illegally, his hand will be chopped off. So that's part of the old diktats. So all Asian societies which had irrigation, they depended on very strong authoritarian structures. And that is why they had authoritarian government. So these are different matters. But the point that I'm trying to make is that irrigation and statecraft or politics are very, very closely connected. And PMKSY, the Prime Minister's Krishi Sinchai Yojana, is one manifestation of that. Last week I made a presentation to a group of 35 members of the parliament in Delhi on what is wrong with the Prime Minister's Krishi Sinchai Yojana. You know, in the last 20 years, we have some outstanding successes in irrigation development and some disastrous failures. If you look at the performance of different regimes or different chief ministers, then you find that Modi's government in Gujarat and Chauhan's government in Madhya Pradesh, they gave very high priority to irrigation development and agriculture growth. And the irrigation area or the area under irrigation in all these two states jumped by 3.5 times just in 10 years. Now this has never happened. These are the two states where small sums of money were spent, but both the chief ministers focused on improved governance of the irrigation economy. So they appointed good IAS officers to run the irrigation departments. They gave them commitment that if there is political problems at the ground level, then come to me, I'll solve them. And they basically gave them money for maintaining irrigation systems. And by doing the small things, they were able to expand irrigated area 3 or 4 times. And that is what explains why agricultural economy in Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh, ever since 2001, has grown at an average rate of 10 to 11%. In Madhya Pradesh, it has been growing at a rate of 20% in the last 4 years, which is unheard of. Agriculture always grows at about agricultural economy growth at 3 or 4%, you are very happy. For the country as a whole, since independence, agriculture has grown at an average rate of 1.5 to 2%. But in Madhya Pradesh and Gujarat, agricultural economy has grown at 8 to 10%, and one important part has been played by irrigation development. You compare these states with Maharashtra and Andhra Pradesh, two Congress-ruled states, where again chief ministers put very high priority on irrigation. They spent massive sums of money. Andhra Pradesh spent something like 200,000 crores under Rajshekar Reddy. Maharashtra spent 90,000 crores, and we know that in both the states, irrigation has basically become scams. Instead, the chief ministers used irrigation to create a spoil system to enrich themselves and their cronies. Modi and Chauhan also used irrigation as a weapon, but they used irrigation to build large agrarian vote banks, based on which they got re-elected 3 times. In Maharashtra and Andhra Pradesh, we found that irrigation was used primarily as a spoil system, in which you enriched a small group of your cronies. So I compared irrigation growth in these 4 states, and I found that in Gujarat and Maharashtra the irrigation curve has steeply risen, and in the Congress ruled states the irrigation has been more or less flat. So when the Modi government came to power in Delhi, I thought that the obvious thing to do would be for Prime Minister Modi to do what worked so well in Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh. Try and learn lessons from Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh, and the Prime Minister's Krishi Sinchai Yojana would essentially be about scaling up these successes in the rest of the country. Now what does PMKSY have? It has 4 components. One is Accelerated Irrigation Benefit Program. Now this is a program that was created by Chidambaram in 1996-1997. We have always spent, it's a Government of India program, and the original objective of the program was to support last mile investments in irrigation systems. Since 1947 when we became independent, the government keeps on investing in irrigation, but most irrigation projects remain half complete. You build the reservoir, the main dam, you build the main canal, you build the branch canals, but then for the final distribution system, which is the most important enriching water to the fields, the pace of the progress tends to slow down. For those of you who read the newspapers carefully every day, that is precisely what has happened to Sardar Sarovar project. The main reservoir has been ready in 2001, the canal system has been ready, and yet water doesn't reach the fields. Why? Because at that stage, this speeds it. So the main purpose of Accelerated Irrigation Benefit Program was to help state governments to do these last mile investments, so that an irrigation system which is mostly complete can start delivering water to the farmers. But if you look at what has happened to AIDP, then you find that massive sums of money has been spent, but the country's area irrigated by canals has actually been declining. So obviously the scheme is not doing, and I think it's actually a ready candidate for scrapping. But the Prime Minister's Krishi Sinchai Yojana again incorporates AIDP, and AIDP has the largest budget. The second component of the scheme is per crop, more drop, whose idea is to help farmers, incentivize farmers to adopt micro irrigation, drip irrigation and sprinkler irrigation, which both increases productivity and also saves water. But this scheme has already been there. Since 1985, we have a scheme that provides incentives to farmers to adopt drip irrigation. The third scheme is watershed program. The watershed program, as you know, is being implemented for 30 or 40 years. And the fourth scheme, which is not explained properly, is Har Khet Ko Pani. Now, I thought the PMKSY, which is Prime Minister's Krishi Sinchai Yojana, should essentially be about Har Khet Ko Pani. And that is what the original BJP manifesto also says. And that said that in the Prime Minister's Krishi Sinchai Yojana, the district collector and not the PWD or the irrigation department will be in charge of implementation. Now, if you look at the way Indian irrigation works, when we became independent, we inherited the world's largest canal irrigation infrastructure. No other country in the world has as much canal irrigated area as India has. That is because the East India Company had started constructing the Grand Anacut in south and the lower Indus irrigation system in present Pakistan, Punjab. So we had a very large canal irrigated area. And both Pakistan as well as India wanted to grow their canal irrigation. But in the past 50 years, if you look at what has happened to Indian irrigation, it has completely transformed. In 1950s, we were the canal irrigation champions, but today we are the tube-well champions in the world. The way India's agriculture actually runs is with the help of 2.5 crore private tube wells. And here, Anand district, our district is a heartland of the groundwater river. Every field has its own well. And farmers irrigate, even you may have a canal flowing by your field, a farmer will prefer to pump use his own tube well water irrigation. This is how irrigation happens throughout the country. And if you take a irrigation map of India, then the regions where the irrigation ratio is very low, or the farming is primarily rain-fed. It starts from Dhule on the west, and you go to Vidarbha, Marathwada, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Eastern Madhya Pradesh, Northern Andhra Pradesh, and you go to Western Orissa and Assam and Bihar. Now this is the belt which is very low ratio of irrigation. And one would have thought that a scheme which is supposed to double farmers' income should actually focus on the regions which have very low ratio of irrigation. But PMKSY, the Prime Minister's Krishi Sinchai Yojana, it actually does not focus on this at all, because all the new canal irrigation projects are going to come where water resource is there. So the entire tradition of irrigation planning in our country has been to create irrigation where water is, not where rainfed farmers are. Irrigation is needed most when you don't have surface water, when you don't have large water bodies. But you find that there is hardly any irrigation there because the government isn't looking there. The public programs only looking at where you have sites and large rivers where you can build massive dams and canal irrigation systems. So there is this long-standing flaw in the way we've been doing irrigation in this country, which I thought the new regime would change. But unfortunately, the Prime Minister's Krishi Sinchai Yojana is completely conventional. It just draws on what has been happening so far. And I think that the need is to bring new intelligence, new imagination in the way we do irrigation. It is possible to do that, but it has to begin at the design stage. You may put 150,000 crores, but if that 150,000 crores is invested in wrong ideas, then it is not going to give you the benefits that you plan. So the need is to get a better understanding of how our farmers irrigate, what do they need most, and try and design the program that tries to meet their needs, rather than just do more of the same. You know, there is something that we've been doing over and over again, and the normal tendency is to keep doing more of it. So I think this is an important scheme, and it is important for India and Indian agriculture that we get this right. And I really hope that there is some rethinking and this scheme will be redesigned. It's been a pleasure. I want to thank Mohanbhai and the organizers of this conference to invite me to speak. This is an issue on which I'm very deeply interested, so I'm kind of very happy to talk about it. Thank you very much.
You will realize that there are very few individuals in the country who have the kind of expertise and knowledge on the water economy of India. And when Dr. Shah speaks, the possibly most crucial areas that looks out for intervention for the present government. And the key aspect of this brief talk by Dr. Shah, for me, was the way in which he was able to draw the link between irrigation and political power. That is the key that Dr. Shah was really talking about. So many thanks for that wonderful brief presentation. I'm sorry we had to cut into the time. The next presentation is by Dr. Dalip Kumar of NCI.
Respected Chairperson, Professor Pulin Naik, Professor Shah, Professor Aliwala, and outside the desk, my so many friends and students. It is my great pleasure and honor to share some things, some government schemes in front of you. And thanks to NS Patel College and Agroeconomic Research Center for providing the chance. My topic is poverty alleviation in India, role of MG Narega. First of all, why I selected this topic? Because you know, I have presently more than 200 schemes moving in the country. Either some state governments, central governments, and some NGOs are also trying to do something. But out of them, poverty is a chronic problem and problem of root cause of all problems. यदि आपके पास गरीबी है तो न शिक्षा होगा न स्वास्थ्य होगा विकास की बातें नहीं हो जाएगी. So in these situations, just I categorize our paper in little three parts. First is the what is the MG Narega and what's the achievements of MG Narega during last 10 to 11 years. Then I will try to explain what is the status of poverty in this country. And last part, will be impact of this MG-NREGA on the poverty, some problems, issues, challenges and solutions. Slide up आते चलेंगे. Basically, first of all, you know that if you want to presentation anything, you should know, should have idea about the data source. So, in this diagram, in this paper, I use the data, Ministry of Rural Development, Government of India, some planning commissions, Government of India, various committee reports on the poverty, or our own study from the National Council of Applied Economic Research. This is called the IHDS second, and University of Maryland data, UNDP data, and NSSO 60th rounds onwards data. So these are the basic important source whatever I am going to share externally. Now, next slide. Background of the MG-NREGA. I am not going to history because you are aware that we have the limited time. But the MG-NREGA, earlier it was the NREGA, later on it converted on the MG-NREGA, and it was started since 2005. Now more than 10 years it is already completed and implemented February 2006. Earlier it was started in 200 districts. Now it is covered the 658 districts, 6,848 blocks, and more than 2.5 lakhs gram panchayat. So it is not functioning in the urban areas, urban districts, because this is the rural development programs. So these are the basic history of the MG-NREGA. Now I am going to explain literature review a bit. आगे बढ़ें. Basically, who is beneficiary of this scheme? Who is poor? I am not going to explain about the caste and class, but in one line we can say generally and more population of the marginalized group are coming on the BPL. Who is the marginalized group? In the marginalized communities, they are the Dalit, who the oppressed, untouchable, deprived. So some in states also Devdasi systems, bounded labor, like these things, all are the comes on the deprived group and marginalized community also. And at presently, 1/4 of population of the country, as per the 2011 census, 25.2% populations are the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. I am saying for general, not I am saying about the Ramvilas Paswan and Dr. Sanjay Paswan, because they are not coming in the marginalized group. But in our country, people think by birth and by all on that group, so they are coming on that group. In marginalized, surprised to know that within around 90% are belong from the scheduled caste. Within population, as per 2011, and Sikkim, 31% belong from the scheduled caste group. So, which types of work permissible under the MG-NREGA? Category of work. Earlier, Professor Shah explained about the major problem in this country is the irrigation, particularly in the rural economy and agriculture sector. This MG-NREGA schemes also going to cover the water, say, water management, like these things. Now, our traditional system of water harvesting is going to vanish. So, this MG-NREGA also focused on the water conservation and water harvesting, drought proofing facilities, irrigation canal including micro and macro irrigation works, providing provision for the irrigation facility, horticulture, plantations, land development facility, land owned by the households belonging to the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes below the poverty lines. Renovation of traditional water body, like the Ahar, Pain, Pokhar, whatever have in the regional language, I don't know, but they generally Ahar, Pokhar, Nain, they have the traditional water body. Land development, flood control, protection work, including the drainage of the water, like this thing, means they also cover the drought-prone areas and flood-prone areas, they coming in this group. Rural connectivity. Rural connectivity means they have also provided the kacha roads, whatever have in particular village sites, and provided all weather access. The constructions of road, village area may be taken also from this. Now, this schemes be notified by the central government, consultation with the state government. That means the share of both are in this group. So the beneficiary of this group is scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, denotified tribes, other family below the poverty line, women-headed households, physically handicapped headed households, beneficiary of land reform, the beneficiaries under the Indira Awas Yojana, beneficiaries under the scheduled tribes and other traditional forest dwellers. So now let us see that this is the trend of the, basically in the MG Narega schemes they provided the job cards, and as per the job cards they are provided the employment trends of the households. So this is the self-explanatory diagrams. No need to be going to explain about these things. Next, this is the performance of state-wise of the employment generated by the MG Narega schemes under the 2014-15. Now, next, this is the trend of total percentage work generated in the year since 2006-7 to 2015-16 in the crore. See, this diagram is going upward, downward. They are going to fluctuate. And after the 2009 days, that scheme was in the peak, and they have created more work and percentage during that period. Now let us see next. This is the trend. This is going to explain about the women are more involved in the MG Narega schemes. Next, this is very peculiar. Let us see the one side the scheduled caste and share of scheduled tribes, and another one the share of women and employment. In the beginning of the program 2006-7, the women are less participation, around 40%, and 61% are the scheduled caste and tribes. But gradually the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes are going on downwards, and women employment is going on upwards. Next, through the this is the employment percentage of the women generated through the Narega activity. Next, this is the average wage rate, because this is the state matter, minimum wage provided by the states, but average, this is also going to increase. In 2012-13 it was 121 rupees, and 2015-16 it is going to increase 153 rupees. Now next, let us see, this is the trend of the Gujarat. The gender-wise, all over the India, women 51% involved in the MG Narega scheme, and men's are 49%, and in the Gujarat, men's are 53 and women's are the 47. Next. Now let us see the situation of the Gujarat. This is in the Gujarat they cover 33 districts, 245 blocks, and 14,191 gram panchayat of the various corners of the Gujarat. The total number of job cards issued 35.59 lakhs, total number of workers 39.77 lakhs, and budgets is also in 2015-16 to 222.45 lakhs. So the MG Narega works, they are provided the opportunity to job on the particular states. So this is the brief about the MG Narega. Now I am going to discuss about the poverty scenario of the poverty. Basically, this is the historical background since Dandekar era of 1971. Before that, Professor B.S. Minhas also explained the poverty in 1956-57 to 67-68. So this is the trend. This is already explained. The Lagwara Committee, Tendulkar Committee, Saxena Committee, Hassan Committee, and Rajan Committee. So many, YKLF Committee and D.P. Gupta, all are the part of these committees, and time to time the government trying to find out the situations of BPL, APL from the country. So next, this is the poverty trends in India. Next, let us see. This is the data basically collected by the National Council of Applied Economic Research. This is the Indian Human Development Survey, second round, 2011 and 12, and they categorize the situations of the poverty, chronic poverty, sleep poverty, scam poverty, remain non-poor. So this is the trends. Now, due to time schedule, too many schemes, I am not going to also explain about the scheme. Some challenges. Now let us go next vertical slide. Challenges and issues of MG Narega implementation. leakages and delayed payments, these are the challenges. Next, Gram Sabha is unaware of its power, lack of focus on objectives. Whatever have the objectives, they are going away from that side. Social audit not done properly and regularly. High corruption involved in the implementation of the programs. Fake mustard roll, bills being generated by the representative of village and Gram Panchayat. MG Narega was supposed to be a panchayat-centric and demand-driven program, but ground reality is very different. They are not going to concentrate. Discrimination in the caste and genders, agriculture wages have also increased. Like this, so these are the important challenges. Now, within time frame, I am trying to explain way forward and some thoughts. Decent working conditions should be the work site. Very poor conditions where the workers are work. Crates, drinking water, shades have to be set up on the work sites. First aid box needs to be there. Uninterrupted fund flow, the continuous employment, like this thing. But now I am going to particularly this topic that scheme for change in the Indian economy. No doubt, MG Narega is very good schemes. They create the employment and increase the income on the grassroots levels. But it is some challenges. This is poverty alleviation program, but rural agriculture sector is already facing several problems, including problems of the labor scarcity. I am son of the farmers. I know particular about these things. In the rural economy, farmers are facing the problem of the workers. Why? Due to Food Security Act, they are getting the 2 and 3 rupees per kg the food grains. But in the MG Narega, they are also getting minimum wage. But farmers are not capable to pay whatever have their remuneration. At present, the workers are not being tried to work in the field because they want the wages as a form of cash. Earlier, farmers and workers, agriculture workers have good relations. They are the traditional wage rates and the form of wages are in a type of kinds. But now they want workers as a cash, wages as a cash, and it is very difficult for the farmers. Now this program is very good, needs to be continued, but government also think the miserable situation of the farmers, and day to day the farmers are going to suicide, it is going to increase, and rural and agrarian tension is going to increase, and in the rural economy, the farmers are facing the problems of the agriculture workers, and workers are not to continue to work whatsoever have the rates. So this is the problem. So as for the times, now we are going to stop, and thanks to again.
For a very comprehensive presentation of the engineering program. It's a very vital program, and we need to understand the program from a variety of angles, definitely. We know that this was a major initiative of the last government, UPA, and in the present government, the Prime Minister himself in the Lok Sabha had made a very serious sort of comment about the worthwhileness of this program. In fact, if I were to quote the Prime Minister, he almost he wanted to continue the program. I'm just quoting the Prime Minister to remind the earlier government about the folly of their economic policy. That's the manner in which he was describing the MG Narega program. Some of you will recall, and this will come in various clips of the Prime Minister's speech in the Lok Sabha. But subsequent to that, well, one thing good is that the government has not completely taken it off. In the very Mr. Jaitley, if I recall right, some 38,000 crores have been put for MG Narega, which is